In the following set of tutorials, we're going to be using labels with Actionscript 3. Let's open up the Using Labels start file and just take a look at what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using go to and stop to jump to the different labels on different timelines. Some of these labels are on the main timeline, and some of them are in a second scene that we have here, which we'll go to in just a second, and then some of those labels are actually in a movie clip. So we're going to begin by targeting the current scene and targeting other scenes with the labels here. Now we also have these indicators here, the frame label indicator, which will output which label that we're currently at. And you'll see that we've got some slight issues with that, but we'll try and overcome those issues. So some of these labels will be on the main scene, and some of these labels will be inside this second scene that we have here. So I'm going to go back to scene 1. Anyway, let's open up your start file and let's create our first function and event listener pair in order to output where we're at. Now we're going to start off by actually outputting just the current frame label that we're at. If we take a look, we've got frame label _txt, so that's good. Let's open up our code with F9. Bring up that code window and go ahead and pin that script so we know that we won't be losing it. And I'm going to target that frame label _txt, and we're going to change the text of that, so .text equals. Now we can always put in something as a string, but instead of doing that, we're going to be making this dynamic by having it output whatever the current label is. So if I do this dot current label and then test my movie, and I might go ahead and do it enter after that, what should happen is that this will output that we are at the start label. So that's good. That works pretty well. Now we're going to create our function event listener pair for it to go to the end, and we might see that that function or this doesn't work quite as well. But anyway, let's create the first function event listener pair. Function go to end, and that's going to have a event mouse event, event :mouse event, because that is the type of event we have. Then we can do our :void. We'll start with our curly bracket, go down a couple lines and finish our curly bracket. And I know with this we're going to be going to go to and stop to the end keyframe. And then we have a event listener for that. So the button that we're going to be using is going to be the, if I can pull this down a little bit, it's going to be the end btn dot add event listener. We need a mouse event dot click, that constant, and then we have the go to end function that we're going to run. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add it so that when we go to the end label, or we go to the end, it will output that new label. So I'm going to copy that text and paste it underneath the go to end so that it outputs the frame label that we're at, this current label. And let's test it now. Now when I jump to the end, you'll see it says start 2. So here's one of the problems that I've noticed with using labels. Sometimes it does some weird things and I have no idea why, because it's actually picking up the label which is the first label on the next scene. So what I'm going to do is after the current section, I'm going to insert a blank keyframe, and then I'm going to go ahead and put blank as a new frame label. And for some reason this fixed it before. I have no idea exactly why, but it made it work. So now it says go to start, go to end, and it's showing there. So sometimes I found that you actually have to put some sort of like blank frame label afterwards so that it works correctly. Don't really know why. If you can figure out why, you can get a few extra points if you let me know. Anyway, go ahead and save your work and go on to the next tutorial.